What's going on YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, and today I want to give you guys my top 5 reasons as to why Overwatch is an amazing game. Now, Overwatch is Blizzard's attempt at a first-person shooter. They did try one many moons ago with Ghost, but it never came out of closed beta. Overwatch was announced at BlizzCon 2014, and we were all in shock when we saw it. May or may not have remnants of Project Titan, who knows, but it's a very interesting stylized world that doesn't take place in any of the existing Blizzard universes. This is brand new IP. And there's some amazing things that Overwatch does very, very well, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. I'll be doing a series of videos this week talking all about Overwatch. In the background, you obviously see some gameplay footage, and hope you guys enjoy. Let me dive right in. Number 1, Overwatch is all about the teamwork. Now, I've played many a first-person shooters in my life. I grew up on the original Team Fortress long before Team Fortress 2 came around. I played Counter-Strike when it was a mod to the original Half-Life. Actually, I remember playing it wasn't a mod to the original Quake. So, I'm no stranger to FPSs, and I've been around a while. Most of them focus around one simple thing: KDR, or kill to death ratio. And it's all about getting more kills than deaths and being that guy on the team who always leads the team to victory with a clutch headshot across the map, or just being in the right place at the right time. Now, that works for most shooters. Obviously, a game like Counter-Strike, for example, in which you only have one life. Obviously, if you are not holding your weight, it's going to become pretty clear when you have a really poor KDR, and most likely your team's going to lose. But this game is not that. This game is heavily focused on teamwork, and that's something that works very well. Each hero complements one another in different ways, and very rarely does a one-on-one engagement go the way you think it should. I mean, obviously, skill does trump some of the quote-unquote OP-ness of a character one-on-one, but it's really about teamwork and pushing objectives together. As such, you will not see any skirmish or first to 100 kills mode on this beta. Now, Blizzard may change their mind later, but for now, everything is all about objectives, capturing points, pushing things, that sort of thing. And it really complements this game style well. Number 2, polish. It goes without saying, as you guys are watching this video recorded on open broadcast software at about 45 frames a second. I have every setting set to Ultra, which is the absolute highest it can be. This game is jaw-dropping gorgeous, and it runs so smooth. Now, Blizzard is notorious for over-polishing products to the point that they are delayed. This game does have a tentative street date of mid-June, I want to say, and it may be pushed back, we don't know, but Blizzard never releases a game that doesn't have that Blizzard seal of approval. The world is very vibrant. You'll notice that a lot of the supporting things in the world, whether they be tables or whether they be computer monitors or parking meters or fire hydrants, are all completely interactable and somewhat destructible when you shoot them. It gives you a sense that you're kind of wreaking a little bit of havoc on this world, which you are. Now, a lot of the bigger structures don't show bullet holes or anything like that. There's no levolution, so to speak, like there was in Battlefield 4. But the world definitely has a lot of polish to it. In addition, there's a lot of voiceovers in the game of characters just pre-recorded saying, hey, I need help, or hey, the enemy is over here, hey, help me push this objective, that sort of thing. And it's kind of nice because it fleshes out the world, and since it is truly dynamic, it's nice without playing on constant communication with other people, that the game will do a pretty good job of telling you where you stand, and more importantly, where your teammates stand in terms of finding enemies and actually engaging in combat. And Obviously, nothing beats the old tried but true talking to people, but if you're playing a quick game with a couple random guys and you just want to play around, the game will do an okay job of kind of getting you in a place that you need to be in order to have a good experience. Additionally, each of the characters are very, very vibrant, and each of them have unique sizes and shapes to them. And that's actually the third strength that I have, the unique depth roster of heroes. Now, it's cool. You have a guy like, a girl rather, like May, who has this little tiny energy, this little tiny ice gun, in which she runs around and she shoots enemies with ice. You'll see that in the next gameplay. One of her secondary abilities is to create an ice wall. Now, it does no damage whatsoever, but what it does do is it blocks enemies from either advancing or retreating from combat. So, if you guys have watched any of that amazing StarCraft WCS Championship, you know that Protoss players are notorious for creating those energy bubbles in which they segregate the opposition's forces. Well, she does something very similar with this ice gun. In addition, she can encapsulate herself in ice, which is amazing when you want to park yourself in front of an enemy turret or block an enemy from retreating. And that's why she is, extremely unique. And then you have the other side of the spectrum. You have a guy like Winston, who's a giant gorilla with this, laser gun. His job is to run in there and just jump around like a monkey, which he is, and disrupt the team in his own way. Both of them are highly effective. Both May and Winston are effective at this, but go about it in completely different ways. You have your traditional snipers and people with jetpacks and healers and engineers who can create machine guns. Your traditional run and gunners, guys with ninja stars, guys with bows and arrows. There are many unique characters that all act and behave and control very differently with their unique skills. Some of them are taller or shorter than others, and that is reflected in your gameplay. And as a result, you get a very deep roster of unique heroes that are actually a lot of fun to play with. Knowing nothing about the Overwatch world other than the game trailer, not even a gameplay, just a little teaser trailer we got at BlizzCon 2014, it's very clear to see how all these heroes are very different and specialized in what they do. A guy like McCree is, kind of like this aggressive, lone wolf cowboy, and he just kind of oozes with that bravado that you would see in an old John Wayne movie. And you have Soldier 76, who's your more traditional guy with the machine gun, and he's got these little energy packs that he can use to heal up his friends. So very deep roster, and I think that there is a hero and a play type for everyone, and that is great. Number 4, the skill curve is not that bad. Players that are new, as opposed to players like me who've been playing these games for quite a while, I think will enjoy the game for different reasons. If you've never put together a competitive team like on League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm, it's very important to get that ideal composition. Now, something I didn't mention before is that you can change heroes on the fly. You're not locked into a hero going into a battle, and if obviously your composition isn't working, you can change at any time. But when you set up that initial core team, the game does a really good job of kind of flagging what your current limitations are with your team, whether it be no dedicated tank or healer or too much offense or too little offense. And that's a great way for entry-level players to kind of see where they fit in the role of the greater team. You can also hold down the F1 key on the keyboard, and it will show you a list of all the current skills that you have. And it'll show you best how to use them. And in addition, when you die, you'll get your own kind of little dynamic tooltips that will help you understand kind of what went wrong. You'll get to see a kill cam that is analyzed slightly by the game, not too significantly, but it'll kind of give you a better idea of what you did wrong. Hey, don't stand in front of McCree when he empties his revolver, or don't flank enemies alone, that sort of thing. That kind of pushes you in a direction of making you a better player. And that's something that I have not seen yet in other games that kind of almost take your feedback dynamically and implement a sort of pep talk for you in between. Obviously, players who play a little bit more, have a little bit more experience, can ignore these or turn these off altogether. But there's still plenty of challenge out there on abilities and the best way to use them. And, you know, is this character really truly a pure offense, or would they be better served doing something else? As you could see here in this gameplay footage that I'm going to jump into with Mei, she's obviously very dynamic. Whether you use that case of ice to shield yourself or whether you use it to block an enemy's path is up to you, and that's why there's a definite skill curve there for people to kind of, you know, experiment with what strategy works for them. And number 5, this is still obviously a beta, but it looks incredible. And one of the things that they're starting to flesh out is this MVP system. Now, we're not really entirely sure yet how ranking or skills or any of that is going to take place in the game. I would suspect it's going to leverage pretty heavily across the model in which Heroes of the Storm has, where you could get different like abilities and skins and that sort of thing later on. We don't know that for sure. What we do know is that they are working on a retooled MVP system. So at the end of a game, even though that killed to death ratio is not first and forefront and in your face the whole time, at the end you'll get a list of all the abilities for different players based on different contributions they had to the battle, whether it be soaked a bunch of damage or healed for this much or played 58 seconds of the objective or captured the flag, or what others going to capture the flag, but you get my point. Whatever they did, it's kind of unique to that character, and that way people who are more support characters kind of feel like maybe their contributions can be recognized. And it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because players get to vote, and usually one player has done something that's greater than all the others and typically wins. And right now the game just says something like epic or legendary and nothing happens. So it's going to be exciting to see how that fleshes out. Obviously it's in a beta. The point is that it's nice to have the players kind of self-reward one another and kind of feel more like, you know, their contributions do matter. So you're not just getting people who are obsessed with these insane kill cams, you know, or like these insane KDRs, but are a little more open to playing with characters like Lucio, who does a lot of self-buffing or team buffing to make the teammates run faster, or Mei, who, you know, is a very interesting tank who isn't really getting credit on paper for blocking routes and that sort of thing. So it's a pretty robust framework that they have implemented in Oblivion, or Overwatch, not Oblivion, in Overwatch, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. I've been in the beta now for a little over 2 weeks, and I can't stop playing it. I absolutely love this game. I love what it meant to do and what it is doing. And I'm very, very excited for when it finally launches. I'm sure there'll be a lot of balancing and that sort of thing that takes place in the future. But for now, rest assured, Blizzard is definitely hitting the competitive first-person shooter scene with this game. And I think it's definitely going to be a rival to games like Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and Destiny and those sort of games, because it's a unique spin on what we all think as a first-person shooter, and Blizzard is great at taking a basic idea and quote-unquote Blizzardizing it and turning it into something very, very different. They did it with Heroes of the Storm, they did it with Hearthstone, and from what I've seen, they're well on their way to completing that task with Overwatch. Now, tomorrow night I will be putting together a video of my top 5 dislikes, so stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Overwatch. Tell me what you just love about this game. And always look forward to hearing from you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please do me a favor. Comment, rate, subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.